Most people didn't notice the bench. It sat under a crooked jacaranda tree near the end of the park path. Slightly worn, its paint chipped, its legs half buried in the earth. You wouldn't glance twice. It wasn't near the playground, the fountains, or the cafes where families laughed and lovers sipped coffee. It was quiet, almost forgotten, except to one man. Every morning at 7:15, he arrived. Brown coat, gray cap, a flask of something warm. He'd sit there, unmoving, eyes fixed on the horizon like he was waiting for a train that never came. Most people walked past him. Some looked, then looked away. A few whispered, "He's waiting for someone. He must have lost his wife. Poor old man." But the truth was, he wasn't waiting for a person. He was waiting for a moment. Years ago, he had made a promise to himself. When he was much younger, about your age, perhaps, he'd rush through life the way everyone does, chasing goals, deadlines, validation. He once told a friend, "I don't have time to sit on benches. Benches are for people with no dreams." That same week, his best friend died suddenly. Aneurysm. No warning. 34 years old. And something inside him cracked open. That's when the bench found him. It was raining. He was walking aimlessly. He sat down just to get out of the storm. And for the first time in his life, he didn't think about tomorrow. He just was. The rain tapped the leaves overhead like soft fingers on a drum. The sky wept, and so did he. That moment, quiet, still, meaningless to others, changed everything. It wasn't dramatic. There were no angels or revelations. Just silence. But it felt like the world had paused. And in that pause, he had heard something that wasn't words. So from then on, he came back. Not every day at first. Just sometimes. And then eventually, always, not to pray, not to hope, to listen to whatever it was the world was whispering when nobody else was around. And every time he left the bench, he left a little lighter, a little clearer. He said it kept him human. Decades passed. The city grew louder. The people moved faster. The bench stayed the same, except it wasn't always empty. Sometimes a child would wander near it, curious. Sometimes a jogger would rest for a moment, panting. But they never stayed long, and he never asked them to. Then one morning, it was colder than usual. He sat with his usual flask and scarf, breath fogging in front of him. A girl, maybe 9 or 10, appeared by the path. She looked lost. She had a school bag too big for her shoulders and eyes that looked like she hadn't slept. Her uniform was neat, but her hands trembled. He didn't speak. She looked at him, looked at the bench. Then slowly, she sat down beside him. They sat in silence. 5 minutes. 10. He didn't ask questions. She didn't offer answers. Then she whispered, "Can I tell you something?" He nodded. She said, "I hate going home." He turned his eyes to her, gently. She looked away. "They fight a lot. My parents. And sometimes I think they forget I'm there. It's so loud. And here it's not." He took a long, slow breath and said softly, "This bench is good at remembering people, even when others forget them." She didn't speak again, but she stayed, until the sun was a little higher. Then she stood, looked at him, and smiled. Not a big smile, just enough. Then she walked away. The next morning, she returned. And the next. Sometimes they talked. Mostly, they didn't. She brought stories. He brought stillness. He never asked about her parents again. He never needed to. She asked once, "Are you waiting for someone?" He smiled. "No, I'm waiting for moments like this." The bench was never truly empty again. Even on days when neither of them came, the bench held their memories, like fingerprints pressed into time. And somehow, without anyone noticing, other people began stopping there too. A man whose wife had passed, a boy who couldn't speak, but drew pictures in a notebook, a woman who just lost her job. They didn't speak to each other. They didn't have to. The bench was teaching them how to be alone, together. Years later, the girl, now a young woman, returned to the park for the first time in a long while. The bench was still there, but the man was gone. No note, no plaque, Just gone. She sat down slowly, tears forming before she even realized why. And then she noticed something carved faintly into the wood, right where he always sat. Sit. The world will speak. Outro/moral. Sometimes we spend our lives searching for answers in noise, forgetting that the soul speaks in silence, that not all wisdom is spoken, not all healing is loud, and not all teachers raise their voices. Some simply sit and wait for the moment when you arrive.